This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
This show is brought to you by Pet King Brands, the makers of Zymox and Oratine.
It's Oh Behave with Arden Moore, the show that teaches you how to have harmony in the household with your pets. Join Arden as she travels coast to coast to help millions better understand why cats and dogs do what they do. Get the latest scoop on famous faces, their perfectly pampered pets, and who's walking who in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails. Garner great pet tips and have a doggone fur-flying fun time. So get ready for the pause and applause as we unleash your Oh Behave host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome to the Oh Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Now, this is a first for us, and we've been on the air 15 years. Yep, this is the first time we have welcomed an American Ninja Warrior, woohoo, to our show, and that's the show that airs on NBC-TV. And we're talking about the canine ninja himself, Roo Jori. Hey, welcome to the show, Roo.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
All right, and joining us from the Angel City Pit Bulls is a fierce warrior who champions finding forever homes for beautiful pit bulls in the Los Angeles area. Please give pause and applause to Elizabeth Kegley. Welcome to the show, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, guys. Hey, pet pals. Get ready to have a doggone great time because we got Roo and Elizabeth. And we're going to talk about ways we can help beautiful pit bulls and others and some little behind the scenes of what's going on with this season of American Ninja Warriors after we take this commercial break. You all know the drill. We got to sit, stay. We'll be right back.
Time for a pause. 4 furry ones, actually. Sit and stay. Oh Behave will be right back.
Hi, pet pals. Arden Moore here to chat about H2O. Water's wonderful, but know what's even better for your dogs and cats? Isotonic drinks called Kitty Raid and Doggy Raid. My small dog, Emma, is not a big water drinker. So I treat her to Doggy Raid at mealtime and after we take long walks. And I rarely see my orange tabby Rusty at the water bowl. So I put a few squirts of Kitty Raid in a bowl and he comes running. I treat all my furry bunch to a gravy-like meal topper called Yummy Raid. Great news. Doggy Raid, Kitty Raid, and Yummy Raid contain electrolytes, amino acids, prebiotics, and much more healthy ingredients for your pets. Veterinarians give them paws up, and so do I. Learn more by visiting doggyraid.com. That's DOGGYRADE.com. Drink up, pets.
Let's talk pets on PetLifeRadio.com. Oh Behave is back with more tail-wagging ways to achieve harmony in the household with your pets. Now, back to your fetching host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome back to the Oh Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Now, our guests today, they possess speed, strength, and most of all, an unbreakable spirit, especially when it comes to helping dogs in need. I am very stoked to welcome to our show the canine ninja. We're talking Roo Jori, and from Angel City Pit Bulls, Elizabeth Kegley. You guys ready for this?
Let's do it.
Ready.
I don't know what's more challenging, to be on my show, Roo, or to take on their competitors in the American Ninja Warrior. Let's just dive in. We've got a Ninja Warrior in the house. First, I mean, did you grow up one day, swinging on your swing set saying, one day I'm going to be an American Ninja Warrior?
I don't think it was around back then, but I've always loved climbing on things. I was climbing trees way back in the day. Always loved doing obstacle courses. So I'm just happy that I'm still able to do it when it came out.
Yeah, so we are now season 14 on NBC, right? The American Ninja Warrior. How many seasons have you gotten to compete?
This is my 7th season. So
Wow.
rookie season was season 8. Yeah. So, and I've been on every season since. It's been pretty sweet.
You're on a pet show. Oh, behave. You don't have to behave. But I want our listeners to know, why are you called the Canine Ninja? And everybody that isn't, he's got a t-shirt. Let me see. Adopt a dog. Perfect. It says it all. It says it all. He lives, breathes, pets, dogs, feeds them, treats them, everything. So tell us about your moniker, because I love it.
Yeah, I got this really cool opportunity. I knew it was going to be a unique opportunity to get in front of a lot of that aren't necessarily in the dog world. Yeah. And I wanted it to be more than just me doing obstacles, right? I wanted to do some good with that. I had been involved with dog rescue prior to applying for American Ninja Warrior. I had a couple really cool dogs that, got a good name for themselves, and they
we're going to dive in
but,
about those.
And so, I was looking for a way to kind of continue to help dogs. This came about, and, I just figured, what the heck, why not use this platform to try to help all the dogs that are still sitting in shelters and rescues that need help today, and see what I can do.
I love it. I also want the people to know, what the heck in Los Angeles is the group that Elizabeth Kegley, she's here, and it is called Angel City Pit Bulls. Can you tell us a little 411, Elizabeth?
Sure. Yeah. Angel City Pit Bulls was founded in 2010. And one of our co-founder, Katie Larkin, who's our executive director, her day job is a pediatric ICU nurse.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know how she has done this with her free time. It's really remarkable. And in about 2018, we were one of a number of nonprofits who were able to move into the South LA shelter space. The South LA shelter, which is in Leimert Park, was relocated to a larger, newer shelter. And the building is, it has kennels already pre-built with sliders and a yard and everything. So we, along with Stray Cat and Snip LA, were able to move into the space. So we are primarily a foster-based rescue. So as much as we can, we get the dogs out to decompress in people's homes and learn more about them that way. But now we can also take in even more dogs, because we sort of have a holding space, or if they need medical treatment, we can hold them in the center. We call it JP, Jefferson Park Center. And we can hold them there. And so we're, like I said, we're mostly foster-based.
So you kind of focus more on a breed that doesn't deserve to be misunderstood. They were nanny dogs, for gosh sakes, and they're beautiful. I actually have a name for pit bulls. You ready for it?
Ready.
Okay. Everybody gets
I don't know if I'm ready.
I'm a nice person. I call them meaty cheeks, because when they smile, they got their meaty cheeks.
They do. Yeah.
I like it.
I know. I have what we refer to as a pocket pitty.
Oh, okay.
My pit bull's about 50 pounds. So,
and what's your pitty's name?
Jeremy Bearamy.
Jeremy Bearamy. Now, when you have children, they all have names that rhyme?
No, because he's going to be the only one. There will be no humans. And we've been working. The shelters right now are really crowded, so fosters have been really crucial for us.
Well, we do want people to go to angelcitypits.org.
Correct.
And we'll have that on our little bio page too for this episode, but angelcitypits.org. And speaking of the pits, not really, because he's a winner. We're talking with Roo Jori, and you've got you've had a lot of pretty cool dogs in your life, but I want you to talk about Wallace, because you and Wallace were stars in dog agility, and now he's got his own foundation. Doggone great.
Yeah. So we got involved in dog rescue with our first 2 dogs that we adopted. My wife was working at the local shelter, and Wallace came in as an intake, and he was a lot. I'll just say that the shelter environment did not serve him well either. And so, he wasn't good with other dogs. He had just way too much energy for his own good.
How old was he, would you think, at the time?
He was maybe like a year to 2.
Okay. I call the first year in a dog's life the wonder year. You wonder where your sanity goes.
Yeah. So, he was causing some issues, and the shelter was, wondering if they could really adopt this dog out. Right. But so my wife and I fell in love with him, started working with him, and we took him in as a foster with the thought that, he could be better behaved outside of that stressful environment. We'd work on things a little bit. He'd settle down, and we'd find him a home, and not at all.
No Disney script. Okay. So what happened?
No. If you didn't give him something to do, he would find something to do, and it wasn't typically appreciated. Like he created his own self-tug toy by pulling up our carpet,
Nice.
And then he peed on it.
We don't need carpet anymore. Come on, it's all vinyl
so,
plank now. He's ahead of his time.
Yeah. So, it was He was a handful, but kind of fluke thing. Came across a guy who was wanting to start a disc dog club. So it's canine frisbee, right?
Frisbee. Yeah.
Yeah. And so contacted him for actually our previous dog, Ajax, or our original dog, not previous dog. He was still around. But Clara used to play fetch with Wallace at the shelter. And so we thought, well, let's give him a shot. Went in the backyard and he was a natural. I had no idea what I was doing, but I emailed Josh and I'm like, I think Wallace is good. And it turned out that he really was. And so
the flying disc. So you end up winning the Purina Pro Plan Incredible Dog Challenge National Championships, a freestyle flying disc. I got that all out in one breath.
Yeah, that's impressive.
See, you just had to find what his hidden talent was.
Yeah. You know, he, it really allowed him to focus all that energy and all that drive. He loved it. You know, we still had behaviors to manage and we had to still be responsible about it.
Yours or his?
Both.
Okay.
Both, you know, but yeah, it was an amazing time.
You had a book. Somebody wrote a book about him.
Yeah. So, you know, it was a crazy ride. I'll just say that. And it's pretty cool to go from, you know, a dog that pretty much everybody thought should be euthanized to then becoming a national champion in an activity that is not really well known for those type of dogs, right? We were typically the only pit bull out there at that time.
So they're mostly border collies and Aussies flying high, right? And retrievers. I think it's great. So what is the Wallace the Pit Bull Foundation? Because we do want that out here too. And folks, trust me, we're going to talk about Ninja Warriors too. We haven't given up on that, but I think you need to know about this.
Yeah. So, you know, dogs don't live as long as we wish they would a lot of times or all the time. And so when Wallace passed away, he had a big following. We had a huge following on Facebook, a lot of fans. And I understood that there were still a lot of dogs that were being stereotyped, a lot of dogs that were still in shelters. And so I wanted to continue his story, to share it with people and to continue to help the dogs that were still around that needed it. So I created a nonprofit in his honor. And, you know, we've tried to leverage that fan base and leverage what I'm doing now with American Ninja Warrior to raise money and bring awareness to the dogs that need it.
I love it. And another site for you guys, homework time. It is wallacethepitbull.org. wallacethepitbull.org. So now we're going to go into American Ninja Warrior. I love that show. I got to start watching more faithfully, but there's some pretty badasses there, and they're not all built like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You seem to have a very nice, nimble, agile, strong body.
Yes.
And is that an asset rather than being Billy Bicep?
Absolutely. So, you know, when you're hanging from your fingertips, a lot of mass is not necessarily a good thing, right? So, you want to be lean. There are some bigger ninjas out there, you know, but in general, it helps to be pretty lean and light. And so you can just kind of swing through these things. And, you know, the grip is pretty much what always gives out unless you get tripped up on a balance obstacle or something.
Wow. Hey, everybody. We're speaking with Canine Ninja from American Ninja Warrior. We're talking, of course, Roo Jori. And from the Angel City Pit Bulls, we have Elizabeth Kegley. I'm so glad you could both be on the show because it's a good team. And we're going to talk more after we pay for this commercial. So stay. We'll be right back.
Time for a walk on the red carpet, of course. All Behave will be back in a flash. Right after these messages.
Hey, Pet Pals, Arden Moore here. Is your dog or cat prone to ear infections? Does your pet resist having his ears cleaned when they're inflamed or irritated? Are you also concerned about the overuse of antibiotics? Help is here. Zymox Ear Care products offer soothing relief. And hey, you're going to love this part. They don't require the ear to be cleaned before you apply the drops. It's as easy as fill, rub, and done. That means less touching of those sensitive ears to help create a soothing, fear-free experience. Apply just once a day. Zymox gets its effectiveness from enzymes, not antibiotics. That means no side effects and no antibiotic resistance. You can find these veterinary recommended products at your veterinary clinic, most pet specialty retailers, and online. And here's a real treat. Yeah, I did say the word treat. Save 20% off any Zymox or Oratine product on Zymox.com. Just use the code Arden20 at checkout. That's Arden20. To learn more, visit Zymox.com. That's ZYMOX.com. Pause up.
Tevra Pet knows there's a lot in your life that you worry about. We want to make sure your pet's flea and tick protection isn't one of them. Tevra Pet offers vet-quality flea and tick protection that has the same active ingredients as leading brands like Canine Advantix 2 and Frontline Plus, but that cost much less, which means you can give your pet total flea protection worry-free. Tevra Pet, helping you and your pet live your best life.
Online at tevrapet.com. That's TEVRA pet.com.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hey everybody, I'm Rachel Ray, and you're listening to Oh Behave with Arden Moore on Pet Life Radio.
We're back from the lot. Just checked the paper and we had a record showing at the box. The letterbox, that is. Now back to Oh Behave. Here's Arden.
Welcome back to the Old Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. I'm ready to dive in. Let's become ninja warriors. I feel like you gotta be. So there's some pretty darn good chicks in that competition too, right, Roo?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really cool that, we're kind of competing on the same course, right? And it's been really amazing watching the evolution of the athletes, both male and female. And there's a lot of women out there that, kick my butt a lot of times and, make it further than I do. So it's really cool.
Well, let's talk about some of the obstacle challenges. How many are there? Is it 10? I can't remember.
So in the qualifier episodes, there's 6.
Okay.
And then if you advance from the qualifier episodes into the semifinals, then there's an extended course of 10 obstacles. And then if you make it past the semifinals, that's when you go on to the national finals in Vegas, where there's a number of different courses and just there's like 10 in the first one, maybe 10 in the second one. But yeah, that's a whole kind of gauntlet of upper body stuff.
So what has been your best season?
Best season was my very first season in season 8. I made it to the national finals as a 39-year-old rookie. Yeah.
Betty White from the heavens is blessing you.
Yeah. So that was pretty sweet. I wasn't necessarily expecting to make it to the Vegas finals, but I snuck in there. Been trying to make it back ever since. A couple of the seasons have been better in a sense that I felt I was able to get a really good message out as well. Like season 11, we partnered with the Secret Life of Pets 2 movie with American Ninja Warrior, and they specifically had me down there for that. And that was a great episode, a really great time. This season was another, they all have their own moments, but as far as performance, probably my first rookie year.
Okay. That's okay. But I think every Ninja Warrior has some kind of theme, identity. I kind of like yours, Canine Ninja, don't you?
Yeah, I was doing the dog thing well before the American Ninja Warrior. And so when I started to get into it, one of the guys asked me, what's your ninja name going to be, right? What's your nickname? And I'm like, well, Canine Ninja. It wasn't taken yet. It's pretty sweet. Yeah. And it's what I do. So I was like, let's do it.
So how did you hook up with the Angel City Pit Bulls? Because you seem to do a lot for many groups. I know you're a motivational speaker as well, but tell us, how did you two connect?
Yeah. So when I hit a buzzer in my qualifier course, right, for this season, so I knew that was going to advance me to LA. Part of the things that I need to do as part of this whole situation is try to figure out different ways to spread the message, right? If I'm going to be picked every single year to be on the show, I need to come up with different storylines to continue to be featured and to continue to provide that content. And one of the things I never had done yet that I always wanted to do was have some rescue dogs on my sideline. And so, so it just makes sense.
Talk about great four-legged cheerleaders.
Exactly, right? But it's a bit challenging because when it's filmed outside like it was in LA, we're there through the night, right? So it's an all-night thing. There's no guarantee either. So I'm kind of asking people, hey, you want to come out, stay up all night, hang out on the sideline to maybe not be on TV,
that's okay. So
Yeah.
you with Elizabeth, what's your group say when you get the call from Canine Ninja?
I mean, it was a pretty quick yes. Yeah, we were thrilled. Somebody contacted us, and of course, there's also a lot of levels of secrecy of, somebody is asking, we can't say who until you commit. And then, of course, when I was telling our group about it, we have a lot of big Ninja Warrior fans in the group too. So I would be like, we've been asked by a contestant. And everyone's like, is it Roo? Is it Roo? I don't know. Who could it be that would invite rescue dogs to be on his sideline? But, and so we were all really thrilled. And so it was really just a matter of, figuring out who can go Sunday night. As Roo said, it was an overnight. And then, of course, we have to sort of figure out which dogs we have at the time that are going to be social. There was a lot of noise there. There was that bar what do they call it? The salmon ladder.
Salmon ladder.
That sound. One of our dogs, she was fine all the time, but every time that sound went off, that spooked her occasionally. It was a little much for her. So, and there's crowds and people running and everything. So we were lucky that we had Olive, who is at the time was I think she was about a year-old white pit mix. And then we also had Weasel, who had come to us with a whole series of, he had some injuries, some head injuries. He had an abscess. We've been trying to focus a lot on medical as one of our things along with the breed. Good. And so we had pulled him to give him some time and see if we could help him with his medical stuff. So he was healing pretty well. He has a little bit of he had a little bit of a smirk because one of his eyes was still kind of healing a little. So he
sounds like one of my ex ones.
Yeah. So exactly. So we felt like they would be good with the crowd. And so we brought them along and that they could stay up all night.
I bet that helped with adoptions and fostering, didn't it?
They've both been adopted and were before the show aired, but it's just the exposure is really phenomenal. We were so thrilled and honored that Roo thought of us because it's huge for us to be able to be on that type of scale, on like a national scale, to say who we are and what we're doing. I think a lot of people know that LA shelters in particular right now are really overcrowded and understaffed. And it's a very challenging, but we are all working so hard. Rescues, shelters, the city, everybody's really just busting our butts to get these dogs into foster, get them adopted. So it's huge for us to have that kind of exposure.
I love it. And Roo, I love the names. I'm an ex-sports writer. I know football better than Ninja Warrior, but I'm thinking, okay, you got the Power Tower, the Over Under, and Flipped Around. Am I getting these right?
Yep, you got them.
So you want to give people a little tease about these three things? It sounds like something on a fancy menu.
Yeah.
A Power Tower, please.
Power
at my
Tower.
Sushi bar. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the Power Tower is kind of exclusive. You have to be the top 2 fastest ninjas to get through the course, and then you compete on the Power Tower. And the winner of the Power Tower gets a do-over in Vegas, actually. So that's kind of a key component because these courses are really hard, right? And typically when you fall, you're done. But to have a redo in Vegas is pretty amazing. Flipped Around and Over Under were both brand new obstacles this season. Designed by a fan, Kevin. He's a pretty cool guy. So you can submit obstacle designs and everything.
What's the difference between the two, basically?
So Over Under is you're lashaying to a bar that can, if you lashay hard enough, you can actually go over and it'll arc you over and take you near the next bar. If you cut it short though, it'll actually fall back. And then you have to climb and go underneath it and rotate the bar around over. Yeah, and then Flipped Around is you lachet to this big platform and you have to climb to the top of that platform. And then when you grab the top bar, it actually flips down. So then you're hanging underneath it. Then you have to launch yourself to another bar and do that again. So yeah, it's a couple different things, similar concepts, I guess, that you're.
Where do you get to practice? Because I don't see any of the Ninja Warriors that have all these obstacles in their backyard and they're always adding new obstacles. So how do you train?
I actually did build a ninja rig in my backyard last summer.
Honey!
Exactly.
We don't have a 3-car garage anymore.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it is outside and I live in Minnesota. So during the winter, it doesn't really serve me very well. And but there are a lot of ninja gyms actually that have now been opened as a result of the show. That's where all these kids are getting so good. They've grown up in ninja gyms now. Yeah. So, they grew up. I went to soccer practice. They're going to ninja practice now. And there's ninja gyms all over the place. And
well, you could become a ninja coach.
Yeah. Working on it. But,
but don't, I want you to still compete,
Yeah.
What's the best thing you get out of doing this? I mean, really, because you make a slip, you're out. There's no forgiveness in this competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Personally, I want to do as well as I can on the course. Ultimately, though, I'm out there for the dogs, so when we can get a feature like we were able to get this season, that's the big win for me. Like Elizabeth said, shelters are full right now. So,
Yep.
if we can get that message in front of people and make them think of their shelter and rescue when they're thinking about adding a dog to their household, that's the win. When we can use this to raise money to help support good programs and organizations like Angel City Pit Bulls, that's the win. And so, knowing that that's what I'm doing and able to do as a result of this is, kind of what keeps me going.
And I do want people, we have a third link. It is his name. I want you to just go to roojori.com. It's ROOYORI.com. So your homework, roojori.com, angelcitypits.org, and wallacethepitbull.org. Did I do this right?
You got it.
I know, Elizabeth, you're sitting in that office going, oh man, I got to channel my inner ninja warrior. So if you became a warrior on TV, what would be your moniker, your name?
Oh, no.
And what would be your hidden power?
I don't know what my name is. I have a cousin who's incredibly good at like pun names and names like things. I will just text him.
You got to do some rhyming like your dog name.
Yeah, like Jeremy Baramy. Yeah, I know. That's actually from The Good Place, and it's basically a reference to like time is not linear, and it felt appropriate since he's a pandemic adoption that it felt, time felt like it had no meaning. I don't know my superpower. I have to say what I realized as I was watching on Monday night too is the upper arm strength that everybody has. And I'm a runner, a very slow runner. We run the LA Marathon as a fundraiser every year for Angel City. So I do that. Like Roo said, it's for the dogs.
Yeah.
That's why I do it. And I just kept thinking, I don't have the upper arm strength at all to do what they're doing out there. It's really remarkable. So I think that would be something I'd have to develop.
All right.
Is that kind of strength is like, I could probably jump and run. Yeah. But look at that bicep. Like and they're just hanging there for periods, while they're trying to strategize the next move. It's really remarkable. I definitely.
Well, it's mind, it's strength. It is a lot. And we've got the man here, so I'm not going to say anything. It's his, upper body strength, but speed. What are some of the traits that you need? And what's a couple training things you do?
A lot of pull-ups, right?
Okay.
So, but yeah, basically we try to hang on whatever we can. And
you make Spider-Man look pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need a web net.
Yeah. And we're constantly like launching ourselves to try to catch things, right? That's kind of the gist of it, right? We're hanging in this space. We need to launch ourselves through the air and catch yourself in that space. And so, we just try to think of different challenges that we can do. And, once we get that challenge, then we're like, oh, well, let's up it a little bit. Can we do this or can we do this after we do that? We try to link it. And so you're just
What's in your house like? Are you as bad as Wallace was when he first walked in? Do you still have walls in your house?
Yeah, not too bad. I do have my pull-up bar, so I can do some pull-ups every time I go through the doorway there, a little bit. But yeah, it's pretty good. I play outside my backyard now, so we keep the house intact.
So would you ever be on something like Survivor? Do you think you would be a good candidate on a show like that?
I think so. We actually...
Elizabeth wants to go on the show. She said...
Clara, my wife, applied for Survivor way back in the day. We used to be pretty faithful watchers of Survivor. I think she still does. I've kind of tailored off on that, but I think it'd be fun.
I think I would be rooting for Roo. How about you, Elizabeth?
Absolutely.
Would you root for Roo? Hey, any parting message you want to both give? Let's go first. Ladies first. Angel City Pit Bulls. I know they're crowded. Pitties are great. I love pitties. Years ago, I lived in San Diego. We helped the Humane Society there with the unbelievable Pit Bull Beauty Contest. And we would bring back pitties that got adopted from the previous years, and they would walk the catwalk, dressed up, nails painted, everything. And they would then help lead to adoptions for the new group.
Oh, that's
and it turned out really a fun event. So what's your take-home message for everybody, Elizabeth?
I think just if folks are looking to help, there's a lot of different ways that a lot of people don't always think of besides fostering or adopting. Certainly donations. We can always use donations. We're a nonprofit. But there's also things like we have people who do transport when we need dogs to get from a foster home to a medical appointment. And there are people who, do office work. I do fundraising in my day job, so I help with fundraising for Angel City. So there's so many different ways I think people may not even realize to help, but also we're happy to find a way to get everybody their dog fix if that's what they're looking for too. So, on the website, you can find out all the different ways that you can get involved with Angel City, and we would love to have you.
You're a good gal. I'm really happy you could be on the show. You survived me, didn't you?
I made it through. Yeah. This I can handle. An island, never. An island without any supplies, not at all.
No. Okay, Mr. Roo Jori. I love your name. Where'd you get that name? I love it.
So my real name is Andrew, and my parents didn't want me being an Andy. So they went with Roo on the back end. And when I was 4 years old, they gave me the option of how I should spell it. And I liked R-O-O better than R-E-W, which is the end of my name.
Yeah.
I learned actually on my very first season of American Ninja Warrior that was the wrong way, because my mom wanted it R-E-W. And I was like,
too late, Mom.
That's what you get for letting a 4-year-old pick how they spell their name, right? So yeah, that's kind of, it just stuck.
So your party message, you have a lot of talents. You're very physically fit, but you have a heart that beats dog. And I love that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. My message is the same, adopt your next dog. There's lots of them sitting there that need people to step up. And my other message is pit bulls are dogs too, right? So we, those are my two hashtags: adopt a dog, pit bulls are dogs too. They're dogs, and every dog is an individual, regardless of what they look like, or regardless of what they came from. That's what I learned with my dogs. And so, get to know the dog first, get to know their personality, besides just kind of what they look like or what you think you want. Because
they're going to be with you longer than the life of your car, maybe your jobs, and hate to say it, maybe even relationships. They're the one constant, aren't they?
Exactly.
Well, I hope you had a good time on the show, Roo. R-O-O.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Hey, everybody. We've been talking with Roo Jori of American Ninja Warrior. Please check out the show on NBC. Go to his website, roojori.com, ROOYORI.com. We've had Elizabeth Kegley. I love what you've said. You're a great message. Go to angelcitypits.org and check out what's all about, wallacethepitbull.org. It's a great foundation. I really appreciate you all being here. I want to give a shout out to my producer, Mark Winter. He and I have been married on the radio waves since 2007. We're married to separate people. And he is the surgeon of sound. And he is the one that created Pet Life Radio. It is the largest radio network for pets on the planet. We're trying to get to Moon and Mars, but I don't know if that'll happen. I also hope you check out ardenmoore.com, see what I'm up to. So until next time, this is your flea-free host, Arden Moore, delivering just 2 words to all you 2, 3, and 4-leggers out there. Oh, behave.
Coast to coast and around the world, it's Oh Behave with Arden Moore. Find out why cats and dogs do the things they do, and get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get great tail-wagging pet tips and have a fur-flying fun time. All Behave with America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore. Every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.